Today's blogging video is a Q&A. So all of our blogging courses, when you join the course, you get into our private Facebook group. So in the Facebook group, this 2 days ago, I was like, okay, I'm doing a Q&A video. What kind of questions, what kind of blogging questions do you guys want to see? And we got so many. Can see my computer right now. I probably have 15 blogging questions, and they're really, really, really good questions. So I'm going to get into it right away, but I think I want to make this a thing every 3 months to just do a lowdown on all of the questions, because I'm looking at these and I'm like, oh my gosh, that'd be I should hit on this, I should hit on this. They're just really good things. So let's get into the questions. Okay, I have my trusty iPad. By the way, I just got an iPad of a month ago. I love it. I use it all the time. I write all of my to-dos in it. I use the daily planner in it. So our iPad planner, slight plug, but I have all the questions here. So starting out, I'm just gonna read. I think it'll be helpful for me to read the exact thing that they wrote down and not try to shorten it. We'll just give you how it came. Okay, someone goes, can you talk about your strategy when it comes to really connecting with your audience and building trust, which ultimately drives sales? I feel like any blogging business can follow a proven strategy, but without that connection to their audience, they'll never get anywhere. AKA, what's your strategy for building a community, not followers? Okay, I have actually pretty good answer for this one, I feel like. So when I first started my blog, I was completely anonymous. And when I was anonymous, so when I say anonymous, I was my name wasn't anywhere, my social medias wasn't anywhere. Someone could probably majorly dig down and do a face search on me, but they would have had to put a lot of effort to find out who I actually was. And so I feel in those days that, I did that for 2 years, that was followers, because there wasn't a personal connection to me. And then I think the community aspect really started forming when I started my social media. So I started by Sophia when I was going into my sophomore year. From sophomore and junior year, I was totally anonymous. Then my senior year, I started to make me not so anonymous, but I still didn't have social medias. I would say my name and I would talk more personally. And then after I graduated, literally the week that I graduated, or maybe a month I graduated, I started Instagram. And from then, I have posted on my Instagram story every single day. I'm a very loyal Instagram and now TikTok user. Not necessarily, now I do love it, but not necessarily because I love it, but because I knew that was how I was gonna form the personal connection. I think it's really tricky to do it without having that face-to-face connection, and I show my entire life on social media at this point. I'm an open book, which I know a lot of people aren't, but I am. I'll share. I literally posted a picture on my story today of me on the toilet, which it's gonna have some good and bad with it, but I think that's allowed people, they feel they actually know me. That's been a constant feedback, is people feel they actually know me, which I think is that connection to I don't know, it makes it a connection, not necessarily a follower. But I don't know how you would do that without social media or videos of some sort. I don't know how you would do that if you weren't putting your face specifically there. You know what I mean? And this is another discussion that we have too, and we had a meeting about this today actually. It's way easier to feel connected to a person than a company. Because it's just nice to put a face to the name. So anyways, okay, I feel this video is gonna be long because I could go on and on about all of these. Question number 2 is, would love to know the top few things that you think are vital to be an expert in while being a new blogger. So you're not gonna be an expert in anything. And I think that's one of the most important things to know, is that you are constantly learning and it's okay to fail. I am still to this day testing things out over and over and over and over again. I never actually think of it as failure. I think of it as testing. Even oh my gosh, Pinterest. We test our Pinterest images so much. On TikTok right now, I'm testing okay, is it good to use hashtags, or is it good not to use hashtags? I'm constantly, even okay, this morning I accidentally posted a TikTok without words on the cover of it, and there was part of me that was oh, do I go back and delete it? But then I was okay, no, just test it out, see if it's better to not have words on the cover, like who knows? So you're not gonna be an expert in anything. I think the things that you should know is SEO, Pinterest. So like how to get your things out on Pinterest. We have courses for both of those. This video's not about that, but just saying if you're curious. And then obviously the topic that you're talking about. Like I will never ever understand the people that start blogs on things that they like don't actually even care about or know about. So you should for sure be an expert in that. Like when I started, I was writing about dorm decor, and let me tell you, I was an expert in that. Like because I lived, breathed, and sleeped it. Whereas if I was to do a blog on, I don't know, for some reason Pilates is on my mind a lot right now. If I was to do a blog on Pilates, are you kidding me? I would have literally no idea what I was doing. So that you should be an expert in. But as far as the things that you should know in the beginning, learn SEO and learn Pinterest. Those are like my top 2 things. Next question, when is the right time to launch your own product? So the great thing about blogging is you can make it a super natural progression. And so you can kind of have like a lot of time to plan it. And even if you have like the end goal of the product, you can kind of work backwards. 2 examples. I feel like it's helpful to kind of give examples on like our business, my business. So one example that we were working backwards for is like a furniture line. So eventually one day for all of these house restorations that we're doing, I would love to do furniture drops like clothing drops do. And so for each house, I will design specific furniture pieces for that house, and then we'll go and sell them and have like a furniture line. So we're working backwards for that. Like I've majorly worked backwards for that one. Started with the dorm decor, then went to apartment decor, now at home decor. And so it's like a super natural progression. Like it will make sense for me to add a furniture line. Like that's not a super random thing. One of the things, product lines that we have now that was not expected but like made sense was when I was writing about college, I was also writing about like college organization. And so for my free printable, I had like a few organization and like daily sheets that I would use alongside my planner because I couldn't find a planner that was like perfect for what I needed. And so people really liked those planner sheets, which then had me create a digital planner, like a college digital planner. And that was super popular too. So that was like my like first product, like actual product, was a digital planner. And then because I knew that that was really popular, then we made that into a tangible planner. So we had like a actual physical college planner. You can see it right in front of me. And then because that was popular and sold out right away, then we launched a regular daily planner, and now we're starting to launch other planners. So now that's a whole business in itself, but that was such a natural progression because of what I did on my website. So I feel like, I mean, obviously, like I don't think that you should be starting a product the second that you start a blog. Like to have a successful product, you need to have people seeing your things. And so that is what I would focus on first, is get people to your website. Get on Pinterest. I cannot say that enough in videos. Get on Pinterest, and then you can apply to ads. Okay, so that's like another thing. Basically, you just need page views. So I think once you have a substantial amount of page views, then you can launch product. I highly recommend launching with a digital product first because it is a million times easier. Passive income, you want passive income. And then if that is successful, then you can go into your like actual hard launch for your tangible product. That was my answer. That was my long-winded answer for that one. Next question, I scrolled away. When do you know it's the right time to hire? So I read the 4-Hour Work Week, which completely changed my opinion on hiring. And when I hired my first employee, I was like only making $400 a month on the block. But I knew that I could, so like I calculated out and I was like, okay, if I pay them this much and they do this many hours, then I'm only spending $200 a month on them. And then I can take that, if I'm making $400 and paying them $200, then I have $200 for myself. At that point, I was paying myself nothing, and I would basically just reinvest it into the business, whether it is a product, a course, I didn't really have like actual like content expenses at that point, but so I was really putting my money straight back into the website for like hosting, website design, email service, courses, different things like that. But I think that as long as you can, I mean, look, like in the beginning, you're not gonna be making money. For me, I'm still, for the amount of money that the business is making, I like pay myself a salary that is really normal for my age. Like Ben and I make basically the same amount of money. But like what I make versus like what the business makes, like I make a very, very normal income because I want to put it back into the business because I see like how powerful that will be in the future. But read that book and know that basically if like your time is worth more than what you can hire out for, then hire out for that specific thing, because it allowed me, by hiring out, it allowed me to focus on things that I specifically have to do. Like I have to be the one on social media. Like I am marketing for this business, whereas other things I don't need to do anymore. So like know what you need to do, like what you absolutely have to do, and then write out everything that you don't have to do and hire that out for. If you're making, if you're making no money, then I wouldn't do it. But if you're making enough money, I was making $400. So like you can hire someone for 10 hours a week and just have them help you like in little places here and there. Even like friends, like stay-at-home moms. I mean, there's so many college students, like 10 hours a week is perfect for them. Perfect for them. Okay, next question. How often do you update your best performing blog posts and what does that process look like? So in our Perfecting blogging course, we go over like exactly how we update our courses, but we update our blog posts, not courses, update our blog posts, but every single week we're updating blog posts. So yeah, it's not like a certain time of the year. We basically have a schedule in place that like we know which newly published posts are going out, and we know which updated posts are getting updated every single week. So it's like a weekly thing. But we also have like a lot of posts at this point, so we have enough posts to update to do every single week. Okay, so this is like 2 questions that are separate questions, but I feel like I can answer them in one foul swoop. Foul swoop, is that a saying? I don't know. All right, the question is, if you take a posting break, how does that affect rankings? And then the similar question is it okay to take a month or 2 to update past blog posts? But during this time, not putting out new content. So I think that in the beginning, you can't take breaks, which is like the hardest part, because Google is like every single thing that you do in the beginning, you're basically getting judged from Google by and Pinterest by, and any really social media. So like you need to be super consistent. Like I would be consistent for at least a year before taking any breaks. And then I think after, I don't even want to give it a time frame, but like basically you have to be consistent enough where you're pretty consistently ranking, because that will show you that Google trusts you and wants to put your stuff out. And then I think you can be a little like take a step back. So there's even been times for us recently, like we haven't posted anything in 2 weeks on the blog when I'm filming this, which is like not great, but also in no way, shape, or form am I like this is the end of the world. No, because Google knows us, so like when we go put out new content, we'll be fine. I wouldn't maybe take 2 months off. I would maybe take like a month off. But also like I hear from, like this is another side tangent, really should have taken I have ADD diagnosed if you can't tell. But I was just listening to a podcast with JC Marie Smith, who's like a TikTok and Instagram person, and she's like, yeah, I just took 6 months off of Instagram and I was totally fine. And so like I don't really know, because I've never taken a long amount of time off, so I feel like I'm not really the right person to ask. But from what I know, basically I would not take time off in the beginning when you're first starting your blog, and make sure Google trusts you. You have to be super consistent. Like you don't need to be as consistent as like every single Monday at 8 o'clock at night I'm posting. Like no, you just need to be like, okay, every single week, twice a week I'm posting a blog post, or once a week I'm posting a blog post, and then keep up with that. And then I think once you have enough content underneath you, then you can kind of like maybe take that month off. I don't know. I'm a bad person to ask for that, because we've never taken a break. That's been like a substantial break. Can we have an update on your Pinterest strategy? How have things been going since the Pinterest scheduler was implemented? So the Pinterest scheduler is great. Like our stats are the same. The one thing that is different is we are kind of changing our like posting strategy as far as like what type of content we're putting out there. So before we really focused on like college content, and so we knew specifically like we know what works for college. Like we know the type of post that we should be putting out there, what does well on Pinterest. We just know that niche in and out, and now we're starting to not put as many things out for that. And so, I mean, obviously when you stop putting as many posts out for that, like you're not gonna get as many views. But for the new stuff that we're putting out there, I mean, even our old stuff is like getting the same amount of views it did before. And for our new stuff that's in the different niche, like home decor niche, we are seeing really, really good rankings. So Pinterest has been great. Right now, September is like one of our lowest months. So, or September/October is one of our lowest months. Then it starts picking up in October. Goes really, really well all the way through like February. February tanks a little bit, and March takes a little bit, and then it goes up in the summer again. So we're just getting out of our high season. Our high season was amazing. We were right on track with last year's, which is incredible because of us changing that content strategy. Like we expected our stats to dip way more than they did, but that doesn't have anything to do with our Pinterest strategy. That has to do with our content strategy. So Pinterest strategy doing amazing. We will probably never go back to Tailwind. I'm seeing a lot of people, I mean, we cannot, like if you've taken the course, take the course. I feel like I can't give too much away without. Maybe I should answer this separately in our blogging, in our Facebook blogging. But basically, if I was starting out again, I would use Tailwind. I go way deeper into that. You'll actually understand what I'm talking about if you take the course. But since we have so much content under us to hold us up, we will always forever use Pinterest Scheduler. Maybe I shouldn't say always, but for the, unless Pinterest changes something majorly, we will always use the Pinterest Scheduler. We've had amazing success with it. What do your daily tasks slash meetings look like? Okay, my life is like insane right now and I'm all over the place because we have so many businesses happening now. What I'm doing today is a million times different than what I was doing when I first started my blog. So, I mean, like my entire life is in meetings essentially right now, which is like another thing because it's like hard to get stuff done when you're in meetings all the time. We're in such a growth phase that everything is just like we're constantly meeting with people, we're growing the team, we're getting everyone in their right positions with like where they should be with where the growth is going. So like a lot of the things right now, like I write 2 blog posts a week. So I'm like in charge of writing those 2 blog posts, but I literally just like create the content for them and then write them. We have team members who link everything, make sure that it's fully ready to go for SEO, and then like gets them on Pinterest. So that's taken a lot off of my plate. I'm doing all of the social media. I do get help every once in a while with editing like TikTok videos, but I would say like 95% of social media I handle. I do these blogging videos every single week, obviously. And then not all the admin stuff. Sarah does a lot of the admin stuff, but I also do the admin stuff. And then for the houses, so like for BSL Studios, I am doing all of the BSL Studio stuff. Sarah's redesigning it. So Sarah's head of our business development at BSL. So she is working on like the actual BSL Studios website. But as far as houses go, I do all of that. And then on the planner side of things, so I keep saying the daily, like people know what that is. Our planner business, we are in the transition right now of making that a separate business, which is called the Daily. So DAILEE, get it, by Sophia Lee, but I think that's such a cute name. And so I'm involved in the Daily on like a really high level, and like the nitty gritty of the business is now handled by the BSL team. But I mean, obviously I overview all the planners, and I'm like very involved in like the creating the planners as far as like, okay, so we're doing a teacher planner. Maybe this is like too much information, I don't know. We're doing a teacher planner, and Shelby is the one that's talking to all the teachers, and because we're like, obviously we're not teachers, and so we want to make it super good for teachers. So she is like interviewing and asking so many teachers what they want in a planner, then she's creating it, then she shows it to Sarah, who gives her whatever, and then she shows it to me, and then I give my opinion, then Shelby goes back to the drawing board, and then once we have like a concrete plan in place, then Sarah will actually go design it, and then yeah, So anyways, I'm all over the place right now. I'm really actually trying to hone in on BSL Studios. Like that's what I want to be doing. So I eventually want to get to a place where I'm really only doing social media, the blog, and BSL Studios. So yes, that's what my life looks like right now. Oh, also for meetings, I'm also at a point where I'm like not really preparing stuff for meetings. Like the team's coming to me prepared with stuff to show me. That's something that my business coach taught me, and that has been incredible. Like I'm so proud of the BSL team right now because they like fully take charge with what they're in charge of. And so it's not like, not even before, but like, you know, you're at a phase of business where you're basically doing like, do this, and giving them a long list of tasks. It is not like that at all. They fully know what they need to do. And so they're basically coming to me, telling me what they're doing and telling me what's going on, which is like a really amazing spot to be in as a business owner. I'm so proud of them. We just have such a good team. All right, moving on. What activities should new bloggers focus on each week? Like what would be a good beginner's weekly routine look like? So I have a YouTube video specifically going over the things that I did when I was first starting blogging, but these are the 3 things that I would focus on. I wrote them down. Okay, write blog posts, get them on Pinterest, take blogging courses. Doing those 3 things and only those 3 things, I can promise you, you will be really, really successful. Do not get distracted by other things happening in the industry or in the blogging world. All you should be doing is writing blog posts, getting those blog posts on Pinterest, and taking courses to learn more. Like specifically, I'd take a course on SEO, I'd take a course on Pinterest, maybe take a course in affiliate marketing, eventually then do email marketing, but like those are further in the future. Definitely SEO and Pinterest is what you need to learn. Next question. With a blog as successful as yours, do you ever have posts that completely flop or get very little views? For sure. It's like websites in general, I've learned is that there will be like, okay, so for us, we have like 15 posts that are really, really popular. Like every single month, they're really, really, really popular. And that is like a huge amount of our page views are in those 15 posts. And then we have some posts that do horrible, that are total flops. We have some posts that do okay, and we have some posts that do amazing. There will always be posts that don't do really well. And now too, with like our content strategy change a little bit, like we're doing a lot more personal blog posts where we're not as much focused on SEO or like Pinterest. Like we know how to write a blog post to go viral on Pinterest and SEO at this point. And we're kind of, and those blog posts that like SEO and Pinterest like are usually not personal. Like they're not like, I'm not talking about my life, or I'm not talking about the homes that I'm designing. They're very like strategic on how we write them. And so we're mixing in a lot more personal posts to form that community. And so we know, like if you look at our stats in general, those posts do not nearly as good as our SEO posts. I mean, hopefully the reason we're doing it is because we see the longevity power of those, because like SEO posts will last a certain amount of time, but like our community and brand can last hopefully a lot longer than our SEO posts. But all in all, oh yeah, we see posts that totally flop. That's normal. Just like any business, they'll have products that totally flop. We have posts that totally flop. Just how important is niching down? Will a blog lose focus if it's an overall lifestyle blog? So it is easier. Like if you have a niched website, it is way easier to grow your website faster. I think you can still be successful with a lifestyle website, but it's just gonna take you a lot longer. And yeah, it's just gonna take you a lot longer. Even for us right now, like we are too all over the place. Like that's what we're trying to figure out, because even like doing like dorm decor, apartment decor, home decor, it's like too much. Like we can't figure out how to make it work even from like a website aesthetic process. But it was helpful because when I first started, I was really niche. Like I just talked about college, and then I added in the other one, and then I added in the other one, so it made sense. But it's so much easier. It is so much easier if you're niche down. But if you don't, I mean, what I always say is test. Like if you can't figure out what you want to blog about, blog about everything that you want to blog about, do it for 6 months, and then look back at stats, see which one's the most popular, and continue doing the most popular one. Question, how do you keep up with everything? I have an amazing team who I delegate to, so that's, I would not be able to do anything without my team, which I know is like, I didn't have that in the beginning, so I know you're probably like rolling your eyes and being like, okay, well that's not helpful, I didn't have that, but I didn't either. And I think it's learning, you know, it goes back to like that hiring thing, like, okay, when you should be hiring and when you should be delegating out, because that will allow you to do like so much more. You're only one person, you can only do so much. What is your favorite business / blogging podcast? So I don't really listen to specific blogging podcasts, but my favorite business one is How I Built This with Guy Raz. He just gets the best interviews and he does a really good job. Like, he answers all the questions that I'm thinking in my head, being like, okay, well, how does he do this? Or how does she do this? And then he'll ask that question. And then, so I just think he's really great at interviewing and knows who to get on his podcast. I learned a lot from him. What is the first thing you would outsource if you were running out of time to do it all? So for me, the first thing that I outsourced was affiliate linking. So like all of the affiliate marketing, like I would have it all written out, but then they would go and actually link the product, which takes shockingly long amount of time. And then also getting permission to use pictures. Never ever, every single picture that you see on our website, we got permission to use. That takes so much time. So now we're at a point where like we're trying to make all of our pictures our own pictures, just because from like a liability standpoint, it makes things way better. But in the beginning, I didn't do that. So we would get permission. Like, we would literally email people, DM people, whatever we needed to do to get in written consent that we were able to use their pictures, which again, that takes a while. So that's what I would hire out first. All right, last question I kind of already answered. So I'll briefly answer it again, but I think I already answered this. What were your stats, including monthly income, before you hired your first person? And was it because you wanted to grow much bigger, ? Or you needed help to sustain the stats that you were at that time? I hope it made sense. Okay. I don't remember the exact stats, but I do remember that it was $400 a month that I was making. And I realized that the post that I was figuring out that I had a strategy. And so I started to learn how to replicate that. And I was like, okay, I'm only one person, but if I can replicate this strategy over and over again and hire out for the steps in the strategy that I don't need to do, I could continue to grow the business bigger and bigger. So it really was to grow the business bigger and bigger. I could have kept going, sustaining the stats that I was at, but I would have just sustained it. Like, I would have just stayed at $400 a month, probably. So I probably could have gotten it bigger, but with other people helping me and delegating out, I was able to like really skyrocket that growth. So that's all of the questions. This is such a long video. I've never had my camera tell me that I cannot record any longer. So I hope that was really helpful. I love doing these Q&As. I want to definitely make this a part of the YouTube video schedule. So if you have any more questions, please comment them below and we will continue answering them. But I hope that was helpful, and subscribe to the channel. Check out our blogging courses, and I will see you at next week's blogging video.